Hickory Golf, it was an alternative back in the day. You think of Bobby Jones and different legends who use Hickory clubs. And speaking of legends, a modern legend, Jordan Spieth tried to hit a Hickory back in the day.
Anybody can go out and actually play with a golf club that was created by Old Tom. They'll realize how skilled those boys were.
Hey, I'm Jordan Spieth. You may not recognize me today. I'm out here playing with hickory sticks, and I've got my dad on the bag, or what you would call a bag. My first memory of St. Andrews was when we arrived into town. This was with the Walker Cup team, and everybody's eyes were wide open and checking out the intricacies of the home of golf. Now I know why they follow through like this. You can't extend. The game of golf with its values and established in integrity, and it's a great game. Doesn't matter if it's a mother-son, father-son, two brothers, two sisters. Sorry guys, mulligan, start it over. We really enjoyed going out there because we were competitive with each other, but we'd also be extremely supportive, and at least my dad was of me. I was always trying to kick his butt, but he was always hoping that I would kick his butt in the end, kind of secretly, which I thought was really cool.
Good shot.
Thank you. This is a handicap all the way around. There's, it keeps it more compact, but you lose a lot of power and control. It's definitely a challenge. All in all, it was very, very difficult to play in, and I gained just a bit more respect for those guys back in the day to be able to do that.
Somehow, Jordan Spieth became cooler. You see that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do it all.
That is really, really well done. Look like Matt Damon in that outfit. In 2000, the Society of Hickory Golfers was created to help popularize the sport, provide rules for Hickory golf tournaments, establish equipment standards. This is a group focused on Hickory golf players, not just golf collectors. Rob Birman, co-founder of Northwest Hickory Players, joins us now. And Rob, why have Hickories made such a comeback in recent years?
Well, you know, Shane, I think there's two things about humanity that are probably common with all of us. Number one, people like to collect things. So whether that's wine, books, artwork, cars, whatever it may be, we all have this innate desire to collect things. And the Society of Hickory Golfers grew out of the Golf Collectors Society. But the other thing is, when you collect things of antiquity, you're really a steward of these objects. And we all love the idea of having some connection to the progenitors of the game, which goes back centuries, even before Old Tom Morris. So it's something really special to handle these clubs, most of which were all handmade, and to have some connection to the likes of Allen Robertson and Old Tom and many of the other players from yesteryear.
Rob, you have this real kind of Renaissance man vibe about you. You're quite the musical background, managing orchestras. What's the synergy between music and golf, if any?
Oh, that's a great question. So as a music major in college, I spent inordinate numbers of hours in the practice room. That's a time where you're working on yourself and you're just working to get better and you're not comparing yourself to other people. To me, Damon, it's just like being on the driving range. You're there to get into a place of focus and concentration and work on developing your skills. So I think there's a definite analogy to the art of studying music in playing golf.
Rob, it looks the same. It has the word golf in it. But is Hickory golf different sport, a completely different sport than modern golf?
Well, I would say it's not a completely different sport. It's all one thread going back to the 1600s. I give Jordan Spieth props. He was playing gutty golf with these old long nose clubs. That's what I like to do too. That is harder than the modern Hickory golf game, which is pre-1935. But Shane, for most of us that are, average golfers, I got down to a 9 handicap when I was playing moderns. The main difference is off the tee. So in Hickory golf tournaments, we're mostly playing around 6,000 yards for our tournaments. Once you're out in the fairway, you're really just playing the loft of the club. But the other thing I would say is some of us find the modern golf game a little bit one-dimensional. So if you're 140 yards from the pin and you approach your ball with modern golf clubs, you're probably only thinking of pulling one club out of your bag. But with Hickory golf, if you've got a 140-yard shot, there could be 3 or 4 clubs in your bag that you have to think about and choose between.
What's the best shot you ever hit with a niblick or a mashie or a brassy?
Well, the best shot I ever hit was in Louisville, Kentucky at my home golf course. I eagled from the fairway on a par 4. And believe it or not, the very next day I looked up the name of the club that was on the back of the iron that I used, and I mailed the club to that clubhouse. It was up in Canada, and I just thought this club really deserves to be with them where it came from.
It's kind of a flex if you just hole out and then just mail all the clubs away. I think that's a very good flex. I like your style.
It's a pretty rare occurrence. I will say that my friend Andrew Von Lasso, who won the U.S. Hickory Open this year, had an albatross on a par 5 recently, and I was in the group behind him. It happens. It's not unlike Louis Oosthuizen on number 2 at Augusta. These things do happen. So there is a similarity to the modern game.
Rob, what's the typical reaction you get from players first taking hickories out?
Well, I think the main thing is, number one, people that don't play with hickories ask, why would you make the game harder? But for most of us, it's just about the love and the affection of trying to get in touch with the past. But players who play hickories for the first time often are surprised when they flush their first shot, because that energy comes up through the wood shaft, into the grip, through your hands, and straight into your heart. And for most of us, the first time you flush a shot with this antique golf club, you almost don't want to go back to modern golf.
Rob, is the game, when you're hitting the shots with these clubs, is your swing a little bit slower, more oily, more rhythmic perhaps than the equipment that we see in the modern game?
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, so Hickory, Damon, flexes, but it also torques. So it does help, generally, if you're swinging quickly, to slow your tempo down just a little bit. The premium in Hickory golf is on contact, not unlike the modern game, but there's so much less technology in these old clubs to offset your weaknesses. So for most of us, you slow down your tempo a little bit, and most often it actually helps you with your modern game as well. Jordan Spieth was playing there in a jacket. That's the way they used to play. But of course, they were in the Scottish Highlands. They were wearing the jacket to stay warm. But that restriction in a jacket sometimes can really help with a Hickory golf swing.
Rob, you seem to have found a real sweet spot in this game. Thanks for shedding light on Hickory golf. We hope to speak to you sometime down the road.
Thank you so much. Good to talk to you.